Hey friends, Olivia from Ollie. Between new routines and the ultimate group project known as parenting, you need science-backed solutions that work with your life. That's where Ollie comes in. Start your mornings off right with multis made to support nutrition and immune health. Choose from our lineup of gut-supporting probiotics, and we've got occasional sleep support to help the whole fam chase their big dreams. Head back to class with the #1 gummy supplement brand. Stock up on ollie.com today. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This episode is brought to you by Google Chrome. You think you know a browser, but Gemini and Chrome? That's new. It can help you with practically anything on the web, like restoring a vintage motorcycle from a 50-page restoration blog, or finally break down that long article you've had open for weeks. Gemini and Chrome is here for it. Ready to make anything online make sense? There's no place like Chrome. Check responses, setup required, compatibility and availability varies, 18+.
Listen to the heartbeat. Chevy is called the heartbeat of America for a reason. With SUVs made to move with your rhythm. The versatile Equinox tackles your entire day. The spacious Traverse fits your crew and your whole weekend. And Trax brings style with value you can count on. All infused with tech that has your back. So your drive always hits the right chord. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast instead of doom scrolling? Smart move. Another smart move? Getting help from one of State Farm's 19,000 local agents when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Yeah, we yelling at the screen every Sunday night. Talk slick through the remote, we just want it right. Front office tripping, man, they can't get it right. Whole city heated, but we still gon' fight. We talking Bulls trade, biz drafts, missed calls, club slump, soft rebuild. We seen it all. Yeah, we loud, yeah, we gritty. I'm a little frustrated, but I still love my city. Yeah, north side, south side, west, we united.
Can we talk about this Gervon Dexter news before we get started on fantasy? It'll take just a few minutes. The people want to know about your boy, Gervon Dexter.
What hasn't Gervon Dexter done now?
What hasn't he done? He hasn't stopped the run.
We know he can't do that, but what hasn't he done now that he's in?
He hasn't stopped the run, and now his name has come up in the subject of trade. The Bears are trying to get back something. I wouldn't call Gervon a lemon. Would you call him a lemon? He's not a lemon. Bears aren't trying to sell a lemon. They're trying to sell a gently used Honda Civic. Not a lot of mileage, but maybe the transmission might not be good for much longer. The tie rods are a little weak. They just want to upgrade. Or they got too many cars.
It sounds like a lemon, what you described. For one, a Honda Civic, worst car on the road.
Okay, well, the Nissan Altima.
Okay,
Gervon is a Nissan Altima. It's not really high mileage. We just don't want that car anymore. We want to upgrade.
According to NFL insider Jordan Schultz, the Chicago Bears have reportedly had trade discussions involving former second-round defensive tackle Gervon Dexter. He's only 24 years old. He started all 17 games last season. He's got 13 and a half sacks for his career and 42 quarterback hits. Final year of his rookie contract, Q. What do you think his market is?
I think you can get some draft capital back for him. Obviously, he's going to need a new deal. I don't know if a team is willing to get him a new deal, but he's a guy that plays in the trenches who is not a special player, but I don't think there's a defensive rotation in the league he wouldn't be in, a defensive interior lineman rotation in the league he wouldn't be in. I'm not saying he'd start for every team, but every team can employ Gervon Dexter. He's tall. He is a above average pass rusher. He is a below average run stopper despite his size. So any team could use him. Getting to the quarterback is still a commodity that teams value. So I fancy that Gervon has the market value of maybe a 4th or 5th round pick. That's what you can expect to get. Somewhere between 4th and 6th round pick for Gervon Dexter.
If any team can use him, how come we can't use him? Why are the Bears trading a guy that we can obviously use based on what you said?
Because honestly, he's no better than the 3rd, 4th, and 5th defensive tackle in a rotation. You look at the guys, there's nothing special about the Bears' interior linemen. They all do something maybe a little bit better than the other, and they all have some flaws. So you got Grady Jarrett in his rotation. You got Jordan Vandenberg, who they love from the 6th-round pick from this year. They love Kentavious Street. He's been a guy that's been with Dennis Allen before. Dio Odembango seems like he's moving more inside. And then you have James Lynch, a guy they picked up in free agency from the Titans who's played football in this league for a while. All of these guys are about the same. The only guy who can get you some draft capital is Gervon Dexter. He's the only one with any trade value. So it makes sense to me because Gervon Dexter may be the weakest of them in terms of run stopping. He's probably the best in terms of pass rushing, maybe between him and Grady Jarrett and Dio, depending on what he could bring to that interior. So I don't think you lose anything by losing Dexter. You lose depth. Yes. Do you lose maybe possibly your best pass rushing interior? Yes. Do you lose your best all around interior guy? No. So I don't think the drop off is severe from Dexter to the next guy. And I don't think the Bears have any discussions about extending him. I think he's pretty much a lame duck in there. So I think the best thing you could do moving forward is to get draft capital for him. And you got to think there's edges that could be back on the market between Josh Sweat and Max Crosby. The best way to acquire those guys is with draft capital. So having more ammo in your chamber for those type of trades is a good thing.
You just won me over, Q, because I think the answer to my question is, why would we want to give up depth in an area where we are the most lacking? Not necessarily in depth, but functional players who can impact. Gervon Dexter, he showed promise his first 2 seasons. Last season, a lot was left to be desired. But with Dale coming back motivated and healthy, maybe there's not so much snaps to go around for Gervon with Grady Jarrett and Dio, being in the interior. But to the point, if Josh Sweat does demand a trade at some point, because he did go there to play underneath John Gadden in Arizona. Gannon's no longer there, and the Arizona Cardinals are going to be very brutal this year.
Very.
If our good buddy over there in Vegas, Crosby, decides, you know what, I'm having another change of heart. This team is ass. I want to contend. The Bears can get back on that phone. The Baltimore Ravens no more. They already went and got Trey Henderson. They ain't got the pieces. So you're right. Stacking up on draft capital right now would be a good move, because to the person who would be upset about this, if the Bears were to be able to get off Gervon Dexter, no Diddy, I would understand what they're saying. This is a win now season. Maybe not necessarily as is all in and we have to win now or heads are going to roll, but this is a season where the window's open and there's a lane to get to that Super Bowl and possibly win it. So why would you hamper yourself? Well, this is Ryan Poles playing 4D chess. This is him seeing 2 moves down the line. It's risky because if those players don't come available, yeah, you look like an asshole. But in the event that you can get a Josh Sweat, we get a lot better. And we can flip Gervon for Josh Sweat. I'm all in for that plan.
Let's do it. Even a Kayvon Thibodeau, who could be on the discount. There's only so many guys the Giants can play at edge.
I'm so sick of them. Trade them to us, bro. Stop playing around.
Stop playing with them. You can't use them.
No.
This is the year where Abdul Carter ascends. We already know Brian Burns is a 16-sack guy. He's not coming off the field. Right. And then you got Arvell Reese there. Why are you holding on to Kayvon Thibodeau? Whatever you think you're going to get for him, you don't have the leverage to get for him. Just get him off your roster.
You know what? I think everybody in that building just be hitting their head. Your boy Jackson Dart, your boy Cam, he doing backflips and smacking his head again on the floor. You know what? Maybe the front office is doing the same thing. Maybe the entire team is in the blue tank.
They got to have CTE, because there's no reason to have Kayvon Thibodeau on your roster still. You have no long-term plans for him. He's still young. Each day you hang on to him, you lose more value the closer he gets to free agency.
All right, let's move over to fantasy football. Fantasy football is a very fun and
right
a very
when you said fantasy football, here comes Emmanuel calling me in the middle of our recording.
Shout out to E-Man Movies guy.
The
vulture.
The predator is lurking.
Yeah, he's definitely a great white shark in these fantasy streets. He's a vulture.
I wouldn't give him a great white shark. That is an apex predator. They hunt with eyes. Emmanuel is the type of predator that's in the city of Chicago that just got his new Capri and is 34 years old and is riding around Hyde Park in Simeon around 2:30 to 3:30. That's the type of predator he is. He's trying to take advantage. Lock him. Shout out E-Man Reviews on YouTube. Does really good work with the movie. Go check him out. He's not a real life predator, but he's a fantasy predator.
All right, Q. With the Bears, they have a very robust offense. They should be well represented in any fantasy draft. Let's start off with this. Which Bear player is the first player off the board? Costa Loveland, Roma Dunze, DeAndre Swift, Caleb.
I think given the demand of the position and the potential, I would think Colston Loveland has to be the first Bear off the board. And based on my mock drafts, I've been mocking at least 3 or 4 times per week. Generally speaking, Colston Loveland has been the first Bear off the board in pretty much every mock draft.
It's been close for me. I've just done a few mocks today, my first mocks of the season.
Oh, my God. You just
I only need to mock for a week.
I mock after the draft. You don't live this fantasy.
No,
you not living this fantasy life. You out here playing.
It's too early.
League championships are won in June. Talking about it's early. League championships
No,
are
they're
won in
not. No, they are not. No,
Yes,
they absolutely are not won in June.
For the people
They are
listening,
won.
I was participating in Payday's League. I led the league in scoring. Listen to me. Fantasy championships are won in June.
Led the league in scoring. You say fantasy is won in June. Listen to me. Listen to me. You win fantasy leagues on the waiver wire. Drafting is great. You want to draft some studs, but listen to me. Listen to me.
I have belts too. I'm not going to go retrieve them, but I have belts. You took my belt back and gave it to somebody unworthy who lost the belt. I've been awarded belts too. But yeah.
Well, we don't need to talk about those who usurpers who lose their crown.
Usurpers that were undeserving of to sit on the throne. Listen, both things can be true. But I think the thing that's more truer is fantasy titles are won in the middle rounds. Those gems are the most important. And let me tell you something. The Bears have a lot of middle round gems that we're going to get to in a minute.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
A lot of guys who can really swing league.
You are very correct. Great segue. So I agree. Colston Loveland is off the board first. Which rounds are you seeing Colston Loveland come off the board?
So I have not done a mock this week. I've seen Colston pretty consistently 3rd and 4th round. Very consistently middle to end of 3rd. I've seen him high. Every now and then he lasts to 4th. I've not seen him lasting to the 5th round.
I'm getting Colston at the beginning of the 5th, late 4th round.
Where did you get him at?
That's where I'm seeing. That's where Colston is falling.
That is a steal for a tight end of his.
I'm seeing Colston end of the 4th round, beginning of the 5th. He's around the turn. He's around the turn. And then not far behind, Roma Dunze, DeAndre Swift, right in the same 10-pick radius. Where are you seeing Luther Burton fall?
Luther was a guy that I saw consistently 4th round. I saw him in a couple 5th. I even saw him at the end of 3rd. But consistently the 4th round. Since the groin injury, he slid. And with good reason. There is no confirmed date on his return. We know it's not season ending, but we don't know if he's going to be there for week 1. And in fantasy, you want to get off to a good start. It can be imperative. You don't want to draft a guy within those first 5 rounds, unless he's just a high impact player that you know is you're getting a guy who's sliding down because of injury, but was really a consensus top 10 pick, like Malik Neighbors, who is a guy who's probably not going in anybody's first round or second round, but when healthy, he's a top 10 draft pick. So with Luther, now I'm seeing him slide. I think the last time I mocked, I saw him going to 5th or 6th. He was amongst the first Bears. A coach going back and forth as the first picked. But you got to worry about when he's coming back. You got to worry about what shape he's going to be when he's coming back. Because that groin injury, that could be that's their stopping and starting, their cutting. So we might not see Luther hit the ground running, so to speak. right when he returns to the field, you do have to be concerned about that.
I'm looking at my last mock. I will put it on the screen, but I don't want to give away my official cheat sheet. So I got DeAndre Swift at the end of the fourth, coming around the turn, beginning of the fifth, Colston Loveland. 5 picks later was Luther Burton. And then the end of the sixth round was Roma Dunze. So it's a lot of Bears from fourth to sixth. Depending on the order, it depends on your league. Depends on who wants to do what, when. But Luther Burton, he has so much variability because he is a breakout player. He can do a lot of things, but it is that groin injury. And depending on the type of league you're in, like I'm in a guillotine league, you cannot risk drafting an injury risk player in the first week because that could be your season.
Luther Burden is really, truly the Bear that I see can have the most impact on the team, positive or negative, because you're going to have to use good draft capital to draft him. You have to decide how bad do you want. To guarantee a Luther Burden pick at this point, coming off injury, I think you got to take him in the fourth to guarantee you get him. That is high draft capital with really good players who are really healthy still around. If you get Luther in the fifth, sixth round, I think Luther is a guy capable of getting you 85 catches, 1,200 yards. You could be getting a borderline wide receiver one, or depending how much. I mean, there's some people that like Luther a lot. They like him to be one of the best receivers not just Bears' number one receiver. Some people really like his potential, fantasy and in real life. So if Luther ends up being a legit wide receiver one and you get him in the fourth, fifth round, sixth round, that's a guy that can swing your league, especially if you nail the picks previous. Now you're looking at a really, really deep roster and a wide receiver one on a distance.
Sticking with wide receivers, Luther, Roma Dunze. Let's say this is the fourth round. You have Luther, Tet, and Rome still on the board. Which one? Which one you take?
I have to put a disclaimer because you are a competitor of mine in fantasy leagues, and a lot of our listeners actually compete with me in fantasy leagues. These are general opinions and consensus. These are in no way, shape, fashion, or form my opinion on draft, and also my opinion on draft is variable to change based on league settings, based on availability of players, based on how the board is falling. With those three players, I'm taking Tet. And it's not that I believe Tet is necessarily better or higher potential than Luther, because I do think Tet is better than Rome. I think he's a better football player. I think he's a better prospect. When I graded them, Tet was a better prospect coming. I believe Luther has as much or more potential than Tet, depending on the system. Luther's a guy that can run out the catch. He's a shifty guy. He can do things Tet doesn't do. But Tet can do things Luther doesn't do with that 6'4", 6'5" frame. I'm taking Tet because he is the clear-cut alpha dog in that pass receiver room for the Panthers. So I'm taking Tet because I think he has a higher floor than the other two, and he has less competition. Even though he's in a less explosive offense, I think there's less competition. I think by play design, he's the guy that's going to get his number called the most. I think he's going to get schemed up the most. He doesn't have a Colston Loveland to contend with at tight end. He doesn't have a Roma Dunze on the other side to contend with, or a Luther Burden on the other side to contend with. Although they have Xavier Legette, I can't remember who the other guy was that emerged last year for Carolina. I mean, they got some talent in there, but they haven't had as much production. So I'm taking Tet as an alpha dog. I would take Tet.
Garrett Wilson.
I have a hard time trusting Garrett. Garrett is a guy who's burned me in the league before with his injuries. He's a smaller frame guy. He's going to be on a bad team, which sometimes being on a bad team can be good, especially a bad team with Geno. Geno's going to throw it. We don't know who's going to catch it, whether it be his team or another team, but Geno is not afraid to wing the football. Problem is, if the Jets are on the wrong side of blowouts and teams got their ears pinned back, it could get ugly. Geno could spend a lot of time on his back. He could spend a lot of time throwing interceptions. Teams could be the clock down with the run game. I do like Garrett Wilson. Man, that is a tough. This tells me I need to get my draft strategy together because I don't know who I would take right now between Garrett, Rome, and Luther. Because I would love to say Rome and Luther, but they've had their injury concerns. Although I think Rome is over his injury concern. They all three. I'm gonna have. I think Luther has the highest ceiling. I'm gonna have to go Garrett.
DJ Moore.
The DJ Moore hype in these draft rooms is getting crazy. I remember DJ Moore before he did that sassy come get me. I remember seeing him in the 6 rounds. I see people reaching for him in the third.
He's wide receiver 1 on an offense is going to throw the ball. I mean, I understand.
He is wide receiver, and you make a very good point. Also, a good point is the Buffalo Bills traded a second-round pick for him. He's going to get the ball. They're going to scheme. I talk myself into it. I'm going to go DJ.
T. Higgins.
That's another offense where they're going to throw the ball a lot. That's tough. I do not like drafting T. Higgins. I don't like drafting T. Higgins because there are too many peaks and valleys with his score. And he seems to know how to burn there will be weeks where T is getting me two catches for 40 yards, 30 yards. And then the next week he comes back with a 3-catch, 37-yard. And I'm like, you know what? I'm benching him. And then T hits me with a 6-catch for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. So personally, I stay away from T.
Emeka Egbuka.
I'm going to Mecca.
No injury concerns?
Definitely injury concerns. But like I said, I want to talk myself out of injury concerns with Rome and Luther, but they both been hurt. I'll go Rome over T.
Lad McConkey.
That name seems racist. Why does he have to be McConkey? But with Keenan Allen out of the slot and less overlap, I'm gonna go Lad. I think there could be a bounce back year. I'll go Lad. Although he's in a run heavy scheme, I'm gonna say Lad bounces back. Maybe not the same as his rookie year, but he's going to be better than his sophomore year. Lad was almost unplayable last year. You know, Lad lost a lot of people, a lot of games, taking that boy in the second and third round, and him almost unplayable towards the middle of the season. He was basically became a flex. Quentin Johnson was eating early in the year. I think Lad has better opportunity. I'm going to be on the spot. I'm going to go Lad.
Jalen Waddle.
I know you don't like Jalen Waddle. I like Jalen.
Will never ever make a team for me ever again.
I'll take Jalen because he's healthy right now, and I think again this is competition outside of Cortland. Who's his competition for targets?
He has the opportunity to get a lot of targets, but he also has a lot of opportunity to be in a blue tent. I'm not taking Jalen Waddle. It's not.
I can't remember who the Denver Broncos tight end is. They have some high hopes for Pat Bryant. Shout out to they got Evan Ingram. Right, they got Evan. Evan Ingram had a really, really strong fantasy showing a couple years ago. Are we ever going to get that 100-catch Evan Ingram?
Hell, that was a fluke.
Did you have to say with that much certainty and emphasis?
Last two, Mike Evans and Scary Terry.
I'm going to go with one of the Bears.
Over Mike Evans?
Over Mike Evans, yeah. And over Scary Terry for the simple fact that these guys are both on the wrong side of 30. Both had injuries last year. It's just hard to trust guys that are over 30 with the injury.
Which one? Which Bears player you taking?
I would take Rome and Luther over both.
I'm taking both. I'm taking Rome and Luther over. I'm taking Rome and Luther over Scary, and I'm taking Rome and Luther over Mike Evans.
That's the risky thing.
I'm taking over Jalen Waddle too.
You take him over Jalen?
Yeah.
The scary thing is, if Mike Evans could stay healthy, he has a chance to put up some big numbers in San Francisco. But that's the same thing with Scary Terry. You've been a Scary Terry guy before. You know when Scary Terry is eating, he eats. He can get you 20 points. He can drop a dub on somebody's head. Problem with Scary Terry is them soft tissue injuries. How many hamstrings? He's battled that hamstring for you.
I don't know. You're right. I mean, it's a good thing to pay attention to. And that's why I'm gonna fade him and for this season.
You're gonna fade? Hold on, time out. You're gonna fade Scary
in this regards, yes, over the Bears players. I would take both Bears players over Scary Terry.
Okay.
I would fade
I thought you were saying
maybe.
I thought you were saying Scary Terry's on your do not draft list. Scary Terry has been a staple on your roster, he has served your realm very well in your Kings.
He does. Hey, whether he's killing you at the beginning of the game or he's always engaged in garbage time, he gonna get his numbers. Hey, I respect that. It doesn't matter when you get your numbers. It matters you just get them.
Scary Terry is one of those guys where we talked about years ago, and I didn't have enough respect for his game. But you put me on. And then I watched the route running very good. Scary Terry is one of those guys that and no disrespect to the Commanders, but if he was put into a different team and didn't have some of the injury concerns, this guy could have had a Torrey Holt like career because he has Torrey Holt-like ability. Like, Scary Terry has all the ability of a wide receiver one, a Hall of Fame talent wide receiver one. It just hasn't worked out with the production, with the health. And a lot of it has been Commanders just have not had the offense, the coach, and the quarterback to really get the most out of Scary.
I think we pretty much agree that the Bears have two wide receivers who are 18-ish. That's good wide receiver 2 potential for everybody's draft. But understand that. 2 legit wide receiver 2s.
They got 2 wide receiver 2s who have some upside. Some, like I said, league-winning upside. These are wide receiver 2s who could put up wide receiver 1 production by the end of the year, depending on Luther's health, depending on Rome's health. Rome was a guy the first 6 weeks that was a top 10 fantasy receiver in terms of production.
One of those wide receiver 2s can hit and become a low-end wide receiver 1. I agree. Let's talk about tight end. So we started this, we agreed Colston Loveland is probably the first guy off the board for the Chicago Bears. First question. Do you think this is a good year for tight ends? As if like this is a deep talent pool for fantasy tight ends? Because I don't.
It's a better talent pool than we've seen in recent memory. But when you really get to it, is it? No, I don't think.
No.
I think if you miss out on the top 3-4 guys, then you could take a shot at them at the end of the draft. I really don't think there's a tight end you draft in the 6th or 7th round or the 8th round. I think once you miss on the top guy, you come back and you throwing darts. Has the best year as a byproduct of game flow and game situation. And then even at the top, there are tight ends that you really don't trust. Sam Laporta's injured. Are we ever going to get that Sam Laporta rookie year again? Is that over?
I'm starting to believe that it is. Starting to believe that it's over. Injuries do something to your body. You never really fully come back from certain injuries.
Is that he hasn't come back from that injury, or the Lions have not schemed him back? Because Jameson Williams has emerged as a legit deep threat. Is it Jahmyr Gibbs getting a lot more work and Jameson Williams emerging as a legit wide receiver 2 and one of the best deep threats in the league? Is it that Laporta just isn't that guy anymore? Because right now I see it, he's your fourth.
I think you can make an argument for both, to be honest, to be fair. This year for tight ends is a little weird. I don't think it's one of the deep seasons for tight ends, right? So you should really see a run on tight ends early in the draft. But I don't think that's what's necessarily going to happen either when you have a top-heavy position group.
People are going to panic when guys like Loveland, Kraft, Brock Bowers, McBride. When those guys fall off the board, people are going to reach and they're going to panic. And I'm going to...
Yeah, you're going to draft Kyle Pitts again.
I do like Kyle Pitts this year. Listen.
Stop. No. And
he puts it on a play. You're not going to tell that massive, athletic, talented, coordinated tight end in a receiver's body is not going to dominate this year. You're not going to tell me.
Yes, I am going to tell you that because Tua is his quarterback.
Michael Penix is back getting never.
It doesn't even matter who the quarterback is. That team is cooked. I don't want nobody. Listen, segue. You saw the message I put in the chat, right? My number 2 pick is available because I don't want the opportunity to draft Bijan Robinson. I don't want.
We are thinking exactly the same. I have a lot of people that ask me for fantasy advice, and they're in the number 2. And these are in leagues where you can't trade out. I tell them I'll probably go Jamar Chase. If I can't get Gibbs, number 1, I'll probably go Chase. It's not that Bijan is not an incredible talent. It's not that I don't think...
I don't want anything to do with the Falcons.
And I can understand why. I think that offense might be a tough offense to watch on a week-to-week basis. And I think if Tua he has not looked like he has been able to drive the ball downfield in practice or in preseason. If he can't get that ball downfield, what do you think teams are going to do with those safeties and those linebackers?
It's year 7 for Tua. We've seen... Pack it up. Even though we called this years ago, we called this 5 years ago. He can't push the ball down the field. He can't secure the center quarterback exchange cleanly on a week-to-week basis.
He takes too many sacks. He takes too many,
and he takes too many sacks. And when he takes sacks, you always clutch your purse. You're like, did he die? Did he die? Don't know.
And,
You know what?
and
And
then
then
and
there's the
then
other
when he
thing
gets
with
hit,
Penix.
then after he gets hit, his clock speeds up, and we start seeing errant throws.
And Penix, he ain't got no working legs. He's got like no knees. So, and you know what? We're dancing around the fact that there's two left-hand quarterbacks in Atlanta. Left-hand quarterbacks, they just...
If weight loss has felt like a losing battle, this summer can be different. Skip the guesswork and try Weight Loss by Hims. Access an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications, including the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen, plus the support to actually stick with it. With Wegovy at Hims, lose up to 20% of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, and keep weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever GLP-1 pill for weight loss, so there are no needles needed. Through Hims, everything happens online. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. Ready to reach your goals? Visit hims.com/FFSN to get a personalized, affordable plan that gets you. That's HIMS.com/FFSN. hims.com/FFSN. Weight Loss by Hims is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety information, Wegovy clinical study information, and restrictions, visit hims.com.
Hey friends, Olivia from Ollie. Between new routines and the ultimate group project known as parenting, you need science-backed solutions that work with your life. That's where Ollie comes in. Start your mornings off right with multis made to support nutrition and immune health. Choose from our lineup of gut-supporting probiotics, and we've got occasional sleep support to help the whole fam chase their big dreams. Head back to class with the #1 gummy supplement brand. Stock up on ollie.com today. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
This episode is brought to you by Google Chrome. You think you know a browser, but Gemini and Chrome? That's new. It can help you with practically anything on the web, like restoring a vintage motorcycle from a 50-page restoration blog, or finally break down that long article you've had open for weeks. Gemini and Chrome is here for it. Ready to make anything online make sense? There's no place like Chrome. Check responses, setup required, compatibility and availability varies, 18+.
Listen to the heartbeat.
Chevy is called the heartbeat of America for a reason. With SUVs made to move with your rhythm. The versatile Equinox tackles your entire day. The spacious Traverse fits your crew and your whole weekend. And Trax brings style with value you can count on. All infused with tech that has your back, so your drive always hits the right chord. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Listening to this podcast instead of doom scrolling? Smart move. Another smart move? Getting help from one of State Farm's 19,000 local agents when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
It's a no for me, dog.
After Steve Young, I tell people all the
Mike
time,
Vick.
the dogs ruined Mike Vick. So Mike Vick never became the great quarterback he was supposed to be. Although that Mike Vick with the Eagles, that was a damn good quarterback. That was
still the best game I've ever watched from a quarterback. The best game I've ever seen. Michael Vick on Monday Night Football against the Washington fill in the blank.
Do you remember his game against us when we went to the NFC Championship? The Bears got off with a nice lead, but Mike Vick, man, he threaded the needle on a couple throws that made that game. I think the final score was 31-20. But, man, he put some ball placement and spin on a couple balls. I mean, Urlacher was right there. He whizzed it right past his helmet, right into safety. Mike Vick is one of the greatest what if he didn't bother them damn dog.
I actually went to that game at Soldier Field when Vic and the Falcons were playing the Bears that season. I was there. I had Vic jersey on, and Bears fans, they were not impressed. They were not happy.
Why would you?
In fact, I didn't have Falcon Vic jerseys on. I had Virginia Tech Vic jersey. Me and my little brother. We and they were Bears fans. Relax. Because they thought they were Bears jerseys at first because it was that burnt orange. And it was like, they figured out, like, wait a second, that says Vic on the back. We almost had to do something at the metro station. It was almost one of them situations.
Oh yeah, Bears fans, Chicago fans, Bears fans. I hate to say it, they're not far removed from Sox fans. In fact, when the Sox are eliminated, that's where they go. They go in the bush and they come back out with their Bear stuff and they go start.
Yeah, ain't that agree? I had to let them know, man. We all gang here, man. I just like my boy Vic, man. We gang. Just chill out. All right. With tight ends, I'm gonna do this. We'll play the same game that we did with the wide receivers. Would you draft Coastal Loveland? Let's say I'm not gonna ask what round because I think we have a difference of opinion of what round the tight ends are gonna start coming off the board. But let's just two tight. You have the clock is on you. Coastal Loveland's on the board with Trey McBride. Who do you take?
Oh, McBride. And it's not that I don't think Coastal Loveland has the same ability of Trey McBride. We just haven't seen the production. Trey McBride has to be your tight end one. I've seen some people going Brock Bowers. I think McBride has to be the tight end one until he's unseated as a tight end one. Even in a bad offense with not good quarterbacks, Trey McBride continues to put up. I think he's pretty much quarterback proof, bad team proof. I think he's a sure option in fantasy unless he.
Trey McBride put up numbers with Jacoby Brissett, and Jacoby Brissett would be very upset with you if he heard you call him a bad quarterback.
I was really referring to Kyler Murray, the Vikings' current quarterback. But I'm just saying Trey's gonna eat. He's gonna eat.
I agree. Coastal Loveland or Tyler Warren?
I'm gonna go Colts. I don't know what to expect from Daniel Jones in that Colts offense.
Is Daniel Jones going to play? Daniel Jones is going to play? Coastal Loveland or Brock Bowers?
That's a good. I'm gonna go Brock Bowers.
It looks like we have Coastal Loveland as tight end 3.
I'd say tight end 3. I think he's earned that when you look at the upside and the production. Yeah, he didn't start off the year cooking, but George Kittle's coming off Tucker Kraft is coming off of ACL. Who else is out there? Kyle Pitts. That's my boy. But can you trust him? Unbiasedly, yes, I like Kyle Pitts, but I can't take him over Loveland. Not in that offense, not with this inconsistency.
I agree. So let's talk running backs real fast before we get to the main event, Caleb Williams. So the Bears have two running backs who at the top 3 rushing attack in the NFL last year, and is expected to carry the offense the same in the same respect this year as well. So where would you expect to draft DeAndre Swift and Cal Monangai?
Swift, I think 4th, 5th round is about where he's going to go, and I think that's also dependent on your league settings, your league, and I think largely it's dependent on the running back run. I don't like to panic when people put on a run. You do got to get a sense of urgency when running backs get on the run. I know some people like to go 0 RB. That can be rewarding, or that could be very detrimental to your fantasy team, because they'll find gems at the running back position late in the draft. The problem is there's no guarantee who those gems. For Swift, I think 4th, 5th round, but again, that's very dependent on what your 1st, 2nd round look like in your league. We can give you good advice, but you still also have to follow the draft board. You have to look at what's going on in front of you. And running back is a foundation position in fantasy football. So you may have a strategy going into the draft. If the running backs are getting burned up in the 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round, you might have to abandon that. Or you're looking at drafting guys like Christopher Rodriguez and hoping that they end up getting more than half the snaps.
Thinking about, well, it looks to me, I've done a few mocks. I've only been doing them today, but I trust my mocking system. Cal Monangai and DeAndre Swift are going around the same time.
Oh, I would not listen. I love Cal Monangai. I'm not drafting him late round. What round are you seeing Cal Monangai go?
I'm seeing DeAndre Swift go late round 4, and I'm seeing Cal Monangai go late round 5.
Way too early for Monangai. That Swift is spot. I think that's way too early for Monangai. Monangai, he was a guy that I actually started in a couple leagues. When DeAndre Swift missed a game, Monangai, did he have 100 yards against the Bengals, I believe? And I was able to use Monungai as a flex, but then his production dipped after week 12. And I think you can look at the stats and that'll support it. His production dipped. So with Monungai, my concerns, but I don't know if we'll ever get that peak production we saw towards the middle of the early mid season. So with Monungai, I think you can find in the 6th round running backs that have more upside in terms more snaps, maybe more explosive ability. A guy like Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt from the Commanders, if he can hold off Katron Allen and Jaden Daniels can get that offense explosive and rolling again, he's a guy. Well, he's got to keep the ball off the ground too. JCM's big issue, fumbling and other miscues. But growing as a veteran, I think he's a guy that you could pick up later than the 6th round and more effective than Monungai based on opportunity.
I would echo your concerns about Cal Monungai. They haven't said, and this is something we say all the time, the Bears are very cryptic about what kind of injuries they got. They always say week to week. Week to week means we ask me again next week and and we'll see. But I'm not going to tell you anything different until there's actually good news or bad news. Week to week just means off. And they've always been saying week to week about Cal Monungai. So, I mean, at least Cal Monungai is back on the field. He's at least doing some work on the side. But if he's not practicing, I don't know. And this is the time of the year that I need to know.
Maybe I'm overly cautious. You could echo, but I'm scared of guys that are getting in real. I've been burned by guys in the past. Pause. Christian McCaffrey, you know about that. What he did to me in 2024 was pretty much criminal. I'm still gonna whoop his ass when
you well within your rights.
He burned you. You need
DeAndre Swift. That is listen. Let's play the game. How many running backs would you take in front of DeAndre Swift? I'm not going to even say the obvious names. Bijan, Jameer. Let's start. Jeremiah Love or DeAndre Swift.
You hit me with Love. The talent is there. That's not the question. The question with Love is I favor guys in better off. So I give that nod to DeAndre Swift. Jeremiah Love talent is reminiscent of it's just a shade under the Saquon Barkleys and Adrian Petersons. It's a highly talented. But the Cardinals signed Tyler Algier this offseason. And one thing I know about Tyler Algier, he is a vulture. Bijan a lot in Atlanta. They obviously have plans for him. They gave him a multi-year deal. James Conner's still hanging around. And Trey McBride is the centerpiece of that all. That being said, that upside of Jeremiah Love is really difficult to ignore. I'm going to be tantalized by the rookie, and I'm going to take him.
Breece Hall or DeAndre Swift?
Another guy with a lot of talent and a not-so-good offense. Give me DeAndre.
Ooh, that was a big one. Yeah. Breece is not sharing the backfield, is he?
No, they do like Braylon Allen, but Breece just hurt his groin again. They said he should be good for the regular season, but when you get a guy that has an injury history and he hasn't even made it to week 1 and he's gotten injured, makes me nervous. I get the upside, I get the player, but you get a guy who's injured before the season, has a history of injuries, and also was on a not-so-good offense. Again, the Jets could be trailing a lot of games. We could be seeing them playing catch-up and Geno throwing the ball 25 times in the second half. Have you ever owned Breece?
No, don't want him. I don't want any more Jets.
Hey, you a smart man.
I had Garrett Wilson last year, and
I know how that turned out. He teased you with returning. I think he came back in one game, did a couple nice things in the first half, and then went right back into that. I held on. Let me tell you something.
Waited on him through the whole season.
I had a team that made it the second round of the playoffs, and I held on to Garrett Wilson the whole goddamn season, thinking that this is my trump card. When it gets to the playoffs or around the playoffs, I'm going to put him as my flex. I'm going to eat. I got a guy who has the potential to have 100-yard games, 7-8 catch games, and he never came back.
Not doing it. Not doing it with these guys anymore. That's it. Jets can blow one.
Good luck to
Let's
you,
see.
Aaron.
Josh Jacobs or DeAndre Swift?
DeAndre, I think Josh Jacobs, He's a guy that's on my watch list.
Travion Henderson, DeAndre Swift.
I'm gonna have to go Swift. What's going on with Travion Henderson? Like, all the ability in the world, but it doesn't seem like the Patriots want to give him that job. Even though Ramondre Stevenson, I think DeAndre Swift has a much more concrete role. Am I right? Travion has all the ability in the world. But the ability means nothing if you're not getting the ball.
Last one, Cam Scatterboo, your boy, Mr. Scatterbrain himself, or DeAndre Swift.
Cam is a meathead who wants to run over and through every. I like, but what week does he get injured? What week is the concussion? What week is the shoulder separation or broken collarbone? What week does?
If I open Cal sheet and they say, does Cam Scatterboo have a concussion? We are 3 weeks away from week 1, and the answer is yes. I'm just gonna bet yes.
I'm going Swift.
So basically, what you're saying is you really got Swift higher than his ADP of round 4. You got Swift is a round 3 running back right now. You basically can have. There's an argument for you based on this. Swift is a late round RB1.
Well, let me put it to you like this. In my years of fantasy football, I've seen, if I'm going to reach on a, he's got to have Swift's qualification. Swift is the guy. Yes, early in his Detroit career, he had injury concerns. He got to the Eagles and played the full season.
Correct.
He's been with the Bears. This will be year 3. The last 3 years, he's been a guy to play 15 or more games. All 3 of those. In the last 3, 2 of the 3 years are 1,000 yards, and I think 1 was close. He's a guy that gets receptions. He doesn't really have any weaknesses other than he's not a big power back, so he doesn't get a lot of the goal line. I think we've seen for the last 3 years, Swift is going to be RB14 and RB20 production. You know there is a floor. One of the things that I see one of the things that have derailed my is that 3rd round, that 4th round, that 5th round, when you get, now obviously if you lose your 1st round pick, you up Schitt's Creek. But generally, 1st round are solid production unless you get. I don't think I think it's going to be hard to get a bust in the 1st round. Although I do got a guy that's on bust alert. I don't want to say it on air because you didn't ask me. So I'm not going to put my bust alert out there. But there is a guy in the 1st round that I know is going to. Generally speaking, everybody's going to get a good 1st round pick. Generally speaking, most people are going to get a good 2nd round pick. It's that 3rd, 4th, 5th where it gets dicey. You know, people were riding that James Conner train too hard last year. That hurt people. When you take a draft pick in the first 6 rounds and he can't be productive for you, that's going to hurt. So with DeAndre Swift, I look at it. Does he have potential of a? Does he have the potential of a Travion? No, but DeAndre Swift is explosive. So you're looking at a guy in a good offense that Ben Johnson likes and is going to continue to get. You know you're going to get DeAndre Swift with upwards of 15 touches every week. You know that he's a guy that can take any of those touches and make it a 50-yard game. So I trust DeAndre Swift for that reason, which is why I hold him in high esteem, because I know my floor is going to be good with DeAndre.
It is a very common injury to hurt yourself or get hurt if you ride the train too hard.
Yeah, or reach.
Yeah. Don't do neither one. In fact, at this age, don't do trains.
No, and if you're going to do a train, make sure you go first. There's too much trauma and backlog and backwash. We're too old to be going 4th, 5th on a train. You're too old to be on a train.
Exactly.
If you didn't do it in high school, don't.
This is championship advice coming from you, Q. I should get this over to you. I should pass that over to you. Last but not least, quarterbacks. We do have the Iceman, the Madden cover boy, Caleb Williams, as the Bears quarterback. But where should he be drafted, Q? I'm going to just ask you, as a general thesis, where do you like drafting quarterbacks?
I don't like drafting them up early. And I think people that draft quarterbacks early, they always are at the bottom of the league. I'm not looking at a quarterback in the 1st round or the 2nd. You Josh Allen 3rd round. I'm not mad at you, but I wouldn't want. I like looking at my quarterback really 5th, 6th, 7th.
For me, there's limitations. Like you can, if you don't get the number one guy, and if there's always the outlier of, Pat Mahomes, his MVP seasons, a couple of Lamar Jackson seasons. There's always those special seasons that you wish you got that guy and you would think that, man, I'm going to go ahead and draft him in the first round next year.
Never
Pump the brakes.
Never do it.
Pump the brakes.
I remember you argued with a member of this channel about taking, it was either Lamar or Pat in the first round.
It was Pat.
And emphatically correct. And I don't know how our fantasy season went, but if she took Pat Mahomes in the first round, I'm sure it didn't go far.
She was still argued for her reasoning. And I'm telling you, that reasoning was terrible to begin with. Listen, quarterbacks outside of these, once in a lifetime type seasons, they're 1 through 10, or at least 2 through 10, are going to largely have the same numbers by the end of the season. They're always going to be very close. You can draft a guy in the last couple of rounds, and his season, as long as he's not a bum, his season is going to, stack up close enough, maybe 30 points off from a guy in the top 5.
Where was Stafford and Drake May drafted last?
Good question.
Sometimes I saw there was a league I was in where Matt Stafford was picked up in free agency. Matt Stafford was people's 12th, 13th, 14th round guy. Drake May was a guy end of the draft or in free agency. These are two of your better fantasy quarterbacks.
Exactly. And they're going to be off the board early this season. And just like we talked about, people are going to, react to what last thing they saw. Not the worst thing in the world, but just keep in mind that some of these things need to be understood. I'm a proponent of a third, fourth round drafted quarterback. I like getting the dual threat quarterback. I like a guy who can throw the ball with confidence, a Josh Allen, a Lamar Jackson, a guy like that, a Drake May, and a guy who can run the ball. I know who's going to give me some running stats, maybe 400 some odd yards. He's a threat around the goal line, like Josh Allen. No. I said passing with confidence.
Running around the goal line.
Well, yeah, Jalen Hurts is a running back. And no disrespect, but he will get you running back numbers.
Yeah.
But the quarterback numbers is not good enough
at all. But Jalen can run for double digit touchdowns. I mean, I've had in a couple leagues where the guy didn't do anything. I've never had a quarterback only throw for 150 yards and still get me 25 points. But Jalen has been a guy that's been able to do that consistently. It's just that you become, and this is strange. Has there ever been a quarterback that's touchdown dependent? It's strange, but if Hurts doesn't score, if he's not getting me rushing touchdowns, I don't even need him in my.
True. And that's what I'm talking about. The dual threat. If you're playing a good defense and they're blanketing your wide receivers, can you still get running points? What else can you do? Or if you're playing a good run defense, you still take them through the air. Guys like Jalen Hurts, I'm gonna say no, but I am a proponent of getting the Lamars and Josh Allens. If I come around that bend round 3, I'm looking for them. Now, if you go and snake them, then I'm fine with pivoting my plan and pushing quarterback back. Right. I'm fine with doing that. And let's talk about that. So, Caleb Williams, let's play our game. Who would you draft him in front of? Where'd you draft Caleb Williams over? Let's start with Matt Stafford.
Yes.
You drafting Caleb Williams over Matt Stafford? Who? Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams?
Yes.
Oh, whew.
Hands down. So Stafford is
Joe Burrow.
Oh, no.
Who? Okay.
I'm rolling the dice that we get the best Joe that we've seen.
Jalen Hurts.
Yes.
Kyler Murray.
Oh, yes. God.
Jackson Dart.
God, yes. Jackson Dart, it will be in that blue tent right with Scatterbull. We can see his blitz recognition in the first week of the preseason. He did not see, I think that was Isaiah Rodgers blitzing.
Yeah.
He didn't even see him. You know, if you don't have a tight end on that side or a running back, we've seen quarterbacks get their bails wrong and the offensive line be to blame. But there are certain sacks that quarterbacks take that are absolutely their. I've seen it with Jay Cutler. I've seen it with Justin
Fields. Yes.
That was a Jackson.
Speaking of preseason, Justin Fields just did the same thing this preseason. He's running around backyard and running around in the backfield.
He's still
looking off open receivers and then getting sacked.
Jackson ain't learned his lesson. He's still talking about running and he's talking about. He said the coaching staff has advised him to get down. Not that I'm going to do it. He said they're telling me to get down. Jackson still, with his little MAGA meathead brain, he probably doesn't even believe in concussions. So he's probably got the RFK thing going. I'm not trusting Jackson. You know, I like Jackson, Doc. I'm not trusting him to stay healthy.
So what we've discussed today, Q, is that the Bears have 6 players that you can possibly fit into your lineup as starters before a defense is taken off the table. Before people start to draft thinking about defenses in round 8, 9, or whatever, you can have Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, Luther Burton, DeAndre Swift, and Cal Monungai, and Colston Loveland all gone. Are there any other players, Chicago Bears players that
I am not
should be on the lookout?
in the Monungai. I am not confident starting Monungai. Not until I see that guy on the field.
Okay. Well,
but Monungai, I'm not suggesting Monungai doesn't get drafted. I'm just saying, with the round use, I would not do it. But Monungai is absolutely
I wouldn't do it either. I wouldn't do it either.
Yeah, but Monungai is one of those guys that could be a gem. Monungai is a guy that you take him in the 9th, 10th, 11th round, somewhere around there, and DeAndre Swift gets hurt. You might have a guy popping for 15 to 20 points every game, giving you strong RB2 production. So Monungai is another guy that can really swing your season. I ain't saying avoid him. I'm just saying be leery. You need a quarterback. This is the round you're going to take a quarterback. Lamar's gone. Josh is gone. Pat's gone. I don't know how you view Pat coming back off of ACL.
Not favorably.
The guys sitting on the board, these are the guys sitting on the board. Caleb Williams, Dak Prescott, Drake May. Which of those guys?
Drake May is going to be off the board way earlier than Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott, Pat Mahomes is really what this is about. Dak Prescott has always worked out well for me. Like if I miss on the quarterback targets like I talked about earlier, I will gladly wait till the back of the draft for Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is 4,000 yards. Easy. 30 touchdowns, 4,000 yards. I'll take that.
In a sleep.
Right.
And I think 4,000 yards is the floor for Dak.
He's a numbers monster. But the Pat Mahomes thing, like I'm doing these mocks. Pat Mahomes is not getting drafted.
No, there's too much nostalgia. He's getting drafted. And he's going to get drafted way too soon. I'm telling you. The name is still carrying.
Well,
the name is.
I hope I draft behind somebody who was drafting Pat Mahomes.
All right, well, let me give you.
They're going to let me eat.
You want your quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams.
I don't want Goff, even though he's another numbers monster. I don't want Jaden. Goff is a numbers beast.
Oh, when I say sometimes, I'm not talking about seasons. I'm talking about certain games. I don't know why, but the Packers and Vikings have had his number the last couple. I don't know what's going on.
But I do know he can do an 80% game, 3 tutty.
Oh yeah. No. I'm not saying that he's not going to have the numbers during the season. I'm just saying there's a couple teams that have had his number the last couple years.
I don't want Jordan Love. Get that out of here. And that's not even because he's a Packer. It's because he's just mid. Exactly. And the other player was Jalen Hurts. No, not at all. So it's Iceman. I'm going to get Caleb. Me and Caleb are going to the Super Bowl together.
I want to give you 2 more names and then I'm done. Bo Nix and Justin Herbert.
I do not believe in Justin Herbert. Don't believe in Justin Herbert whatsoever. And like you mentioned earlier in the episode, run heavy offense with the Harbaughs. I don't particularly have a lot of belief in Bo Nix either, but I would take Bo Nix. I mean, he's in the offense that's going to hide some of his deficiencies, and he's going to be able to get some numbers.
Oh, Sean Payton is going to get him his numbers, but you take Bo Nix over Caleb?
No, not at all. Even though I think Bo Nix had a better fantasy season than Caleb last year, I think, right?
I know it was real neck and neck. I do believe Bo Nix, he did hit some. I mean, his game against the Jets was terrible. And I think he had another stinker. So I don't know if Caleb called him. I think Caleb might have called him towards the end of the season. Bo Nix is the guy that he's a dual. It may not be the way but he's a dual threat, and he's going to nickel and dime his way. I've noticed one thing about it may not look good for 2.5, 3 quarters, but he'll nickel and dime his way into a solid fantasy game, even if he didn't have a great real life.
What's the update on his injury?
Concern. I don't like. It just seems like quarterbacks that hurt that leg that they plan off of, it takes more than a season to recover. You know what I'm saying? Aaron Rodgers was very bad after injuring that leg. Remember, Kirk Cousins struggled after that. So with Bo Nix, I just think he's a candidate for regression.
I mean, you make a good point. Because that injury is not something you can just sneeze at. With all this information you've been given, you need to bear down heavy in your draft because the Chicago Bears are going to lead you.
Bear down in your fantasy. Don't go. And when we say bear down heavy in your fantasy, we've been doing this for a long time. Some people bear down a little too much. I'm not going to stop you if you're competing against me from showing Ja'Day Walker love, getting enamored with Khalif Raymond or Cole Kmet. If you want to spend a draft pick on those guys, be my guest. But bear down with some sense. I would not draft the Bears defense. I'm sorry. That would not be the thing I would do.
Yeah, that's for good reason we didn't talk about the Bears defense. No.
Now, what I would do is I'll click that little button that says watch list, and I'll watch the Bears defense to see if maybe those turnovers somehow replicate themselves. But I would not confidently start them. Actually, there's some games. Actually, you know what? There are some games I think you can start the Bears defense. Let me preface that when I say do not draft them, I would put them on my watch list. And when I see the Jets game, the Falcons game, that might be when I start the Bears defense. Depending on what Kyler does over in Minnesota, that's another game I might start the Jets, the Dolphins. I'll start the Bears against Jets and Dolphins.
Good idea.
Matchup dependent. That's my review for Bears defense. Matchup.
Bear down, fellas. Appreciate you tapping into this latest episode from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Don't matter if you was watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple. Make sure you like, subscribe, share with everybody on the block, and hit the notification bell so you never miss none of our daily drops. And to all the guys from the shy, we say 3 things. Bear down, fly the W, and sell the team, Jerry.